During a roughly 70-year period, the Mongol Empire conquered more land and fought a wider variety of foes than perhaps any army in history. Many thousands of miles were crossed and millions slain. But how did the Mongols feed this highly mobile army, and what did they eat? In this video I will cover what the Mongol warrior ate, how that varied in the short hot summer and the long winters, and how did this vary while on campaign. The arid plains of the Mongolian steppe have never been well suited for agriculture. Consequently, the Mongols have relied on their livestock for their sustenance. Mongol herds are primarily composed of horses, goats, sheep, cows, yaks, and camels. During the short, hot Mongolian summer, the hard frozen ground of the Mongolian steppe was transformed into a vast celestial paradise for any grazing animal. The herds would swell in size, and the Mongolian diet was almost entirely comprised of dairy products during those months. Fresh yogurt was consumed, while large amounts of cheese was stockpiled for later in the year. Far more often than drinking fresh milk, the Mongolian warrior would drink fermented cow, mare's, or yak milk. Before pasteurization, drinking these alcoholic beverages would have been far safer. During the winter, which frequently lasted 9 months of the year on the Mongolian steppe, the diet transitioned from dairy to meat. First, the older injured animals were eaten, leaving nothing to waste. Dry meats and stews utilizing all parts of the animal were common staples. Wild onion and garlic were some of the few available and highly prized accoutrements to flavor the food. On campaign, the Mongol warrior would typically pack dried meat, some cheese, and fermented milk alcohol. In addition to this, he might pack a bag of onions, meat, and rice that would be placed under the saddle and would be slowly cooked by the friction of his body and the horses, turning it into a stew-like substance. The Mongol warrior was an expert forager and was expected to primarily feed himself off the enemy land, while the provisions he carried for himself on his 3 to 5 horses would be a backup, including the horse, if pack supplies ran out and foraging failed. Depending on the campaign, herds of other animals would be following the main army as another source of mobile food. Mongol warriors were also famous for going several days without eating any substantive meal, and only occasionally nicking a vein on the horse's neck and drinking some blood for a quick protein energy boost. The Mongol diet was in stark contrast to the bulk of the enemy troops they would face, whose diets primarily comprised various types of starchy grains and their derivatives, such as rice, wheat, lentils, chickpeas, bread, gruel, and noodles. These high-calorie foods are great for maintaining a large population and army, however require a large supply train, accountants, quartermasters, and bureaucracy to organize and distribute this heavy logistical load that can slow down an army's pace or lead to it starving if managed improperly. When unsupplemented over a long period, a diet solely comprised of high-starch grains could lead to serious malnutrition, poor quality of bones and teeth, which could lead to other diseases. It would typically only be the aristocratic warrior equestrian class of the 13th century that would have the luxury of a diet high in protein as the typical Mongol warrior, which must have surely aided them in their conquest. This video is in response to Tadlord, who commented, "Question: how did the Mongol horde, being nomadic, manage to feed such a massive horde?" I began to write a lengthy response to this question, and then decided to just make this video instead, because I thought it was such an interesting question. This has been Epimetheus. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications every time I make a new video. And if you would like to help me out with the cost of keeping this channel going, you can do so over on Patreon, and join the horde, starting for just $1 a month. Thank you so much.